All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today is September 8th, 2025. This is a meeting of the Mayor and Council of Princeton, New Jersey. Madam Clerk, could we have the meeting statement, please?
Notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act and state regulations governing public meetings, including the time, date, and location of the meeting, and clear and concise instructions to the public for accessing the meeting and making comments. In addition, the agenda and all related materials were posted electronically and made available to the public on Princeton's meeting portal in advance of the meeting.
Thank you. Michelle's going to do the land acknowledgement.
We gather today on the land of the Lenni Lenape. As members of the Princeton community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come.
Thank you. Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Here.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Here.
Mr. Cohen is absent. Ms. Sachs? Here. Ms. Fraga?
Here.
Mr. Newland?
Here.
Mayor Frida?
Here. All right, if you're able and you'd like to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, any council announcements or reports?
Yes. So, as many of you may be aware, Princeton is a member of National Welcoming America, and every year we take part in the annual Welcoming Week celebration and events. This year, Welcoming Week starts on September 12th and goes through the 21st. There will be many events throughout the week, some of them hosted by our community partners. But starting on the 12th, Friday the 12th, at 4:30 at Heinz Plaza, in collaboration with the library, Human Services is hosting culture exchange night. And we have many participants, community partners, and families who will be joining to share their culture. So we welcome everyone. It's free and open to the public.
Thank you. We have other council, Brian.
Today, the mayor and council received a very thoughtful and compelling letter from the current president of the Jewish Center, several past presidents, and many other leaders of our Jewish community. In it, they expressed great concern about a significant and increasing number of anti-Semitic acts, some in the form of graffiti, some in the form of speech at public gatherings, and have noted that these acts are alarming and have created a climate where Jewish residents feel unsettled, frightened, upset, and unsafe. I've been in touch with Chief Tash and Captain Salovey, and they have assured me that the police department is taking these incidents very seriously. As Bernie has reported to us, there has been an increase in anti-Semitic graffiti in the municipality, particularly around our parks. Our officers have completed investigative reports, and the Detective Bureau is actively investigating the incidents. In line with Attorney General requirements, the police department, pursuant to protocols surrounding hate speech and acts of bias and intimidation, has also reported these cases to the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, the New Jersey Attorney General's Office, the New Jersey State Police, and the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. In addition, our police have taken proactive measures, including increased patrols at the Jewish Center and in areas where graffiti has been reported. The police department has also met with representatives from the Jewish Center to hear their concerns and outline the steps the department is taking to address the situation. The letter has some specific suggestions for us to consider, and we will do that and respond to the letter once we have all had time to fully digest it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Other announcements or reports? No? Okay. We have a couple proclamations. Leighton, you're going to do the first one?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Proclamation, Office of the Mayor, Municipality of Princeton. Proclamation celebrating Welcoming Week. 2025. Whereas Princeton takes pride in being a diverse, inclusive community that values the contributions of residents of all backgrounds, identities, and cultures. And whereas Welcoming Week, celebrated September 12th through the 21st, 2025, brings together neighbors across the nation and around the world to deepen understanding and strengthen belonging. And whereas Princeton is proud to celebrate its 10th year as a welcoming community, marking a decade of commitment to equity, inclusion, and opportunity for all who call Princeton home. And whereas Welcoming Week provides an occasion to honor our shared values, celebrate the vibrancy of our community, and reaffirm our dedication to ensuring that every resident feels seen, valued, and connected. And whereas, at a time when diversity and inclusion are increasingly questioned and challenged, Princeton affirms that these values are essential to our civic identity, democratic vitality, and collective future, and we pledge to continue strengthening them through our policies, programs, and partnerships. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Mark Frieda of the Municipality of Princeton and the Council of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September 21 through 21st, 2025 as Welcoming Week in Princeton, and invite all residents, businesses, and organizations to join in celebrating Princeton's 10th year as a welcoming community. Given under my hand and seal this 8th day of September 2025, Mark Frieda, Mayor.
Thank you, Leighton. Leticia.
Yes, thank you. Mine is a proclamation observing September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month is observed each year from September 15th to October 15th to celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of those living in America whose ancestors come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas the theme for 2025 is Collective Heritage, honoring the past, inspiring the future. And whereas the observation of National Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson, and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th. And whereas the day of September 15th is significant because it is the anniversary of independence for the Latin American countries Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. In addition, Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and September 18th, respectively. Finally, Day of the Races, or Día de la Raza, which is observed October 9th, falls within this 30-day period. And whereas the Hispanic and Latino community has helped build and strengthen our society for generations at every level in government, science, business, culture, sports, education, and the arts. And whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans represent a significant and fast-growing demographic, and we honor the invaluable ways they contribute to our community as friends, family members, teachers, elected officials, essential workers, co-workers, and much more. And whereas Princeton Municipality hereby commits to highlighting the rich diversity of peoples and histories within the Latino community. And now, therefore, I, Leticia Fraga, on behalf of Mark Frieda, Mayor of the Municipality of Princeton, and the Council of Princeton, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2025, as Hispanic Heritage Month, and call upon the people of Princeton to join in this special observance by seeking out celebrations educational programs, and community activities to learn more about the role Hispanic and Latino Americans have played in our nation's history.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have 2 public hearings on 2 ordinances. So the first one is Ordinance 2514, an ordinance by the Municipality of Princeton authorizing the lease of a portion of Community Park South tennis facility for a public purpose to the Princeton Tennis Program pursuant to local laws and local lands and buildings law, NJSA 40A 12-14C and NJSA 40A-12-15I. Would someone like to move? Michelle's got the motion, Mia's got the second. We'll start with comments up here, and then we'll go to public comment after the council comments. Michelle?
Thank you. So I'd like to thank Princeton Tennis Program, as well as the U.S. Tennis Association. I guess this is a really good week for tennis. So I'm really grateful to all the work that you've put into this. We have had a long, decades-long relationship with Princeton Tennis Program. They bring a lot to the table with helping us with all the programming, managing the tennis program, as well as the ongoing repairs and maintenance. The past years, the repairs and maintenance have really cost the taxpayers because we have not been able really to cover costs. So going forward, once we are able to do the construction of the new tennis courts, Princeton Tennis will not only be doing this $300,000 contribution towards the beginning of the new construction, but they will also be covering all the costs, as well as there's also incentive for continuing our relationship in the years to come. So I thank you for putting these funds together, for being patient and working with us. And I just also want to thank Princeton Tennis Program for their commitment to the community and doing a lot of serving the economically disadvantaged, seniors in the community, lots of children's programs, and really bringing tennis to people that may not have been able to afford tennis before. This is really strengthening our community, so appreciate that commitment as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Other comments or questions? Mia?
I want to thank Councilwoman Lambrose for working so hard and long on this agreement, which was really important. And thank you to anyone who's here from PTP and who was patient in getting us to this point. And I also just want to echo Michelle's comments about the long relationship with PTP. And, you know, Princeton was one of the first, was a forerunner in the state in offering integrated tennis programming for everyone in the community at a point that they could afford, and it was accessible to everyone. And that was a partnership between PTP and the municipality, and I'm really glad today that we're continuing that partnership. And thank you again, Michelle, for your work on this.
Leighton?
Yeah, I'll be brief. I just want to say thank you, in particular, for really leaning into the equity piece and acknowledging that, you know, tennis is to be shared by everyone, and we really seek to extend those values throughout the neighborhood and throughout all the neighborhoods in Princeton. So I just want to thank you, Michelle, for the good work that you did, making sure that this contract serves the needs for all Princetonians. It was well done, and I'm really proud that we're continuing on a good and long-term relationship. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions up here? All right. Anyone in the public wants to come up and comment on this one? When you come up, just state your name, where you're from.
Very briefly, want to also reiterate to Michelle.
Jack, can you just say who you are so we have it on the tape?
I never thought in my lifetime it would be back in this arena. Sorry. In my previous lifetime, I was the recreation director for about 110 years, so never thought I'd be back here. But at any rate,
speaking on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Princeton Tennis Program, we also commend all the people who worked so hard, not only Michelle, but the legal team who put together all the moving parts necessary in this lease agreement, largely because of Green Acres restrictions and qualifications. So we are very excited to move this forward, the concept being solid in the lease agreement, and that is we want to give money to the town and move it forward so that we can perhaps prioritize this aspect of the community park restoration and get tennis courts that we all could be very proud of. And we're more than delighted to program them and to manage them because it's what we do. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you.
Pretty much it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room that wants to comment on this? Anybody on Zoom that wants to comment on this? All right. See no one else that wishes, from the public that wishes to speak about it, we'll close the public hearing. And can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Perron-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Fraga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Thank you. Next up is Ordinance 2515, an ordinance of the Municipality of Princeton amending Chapter T10B entitled Land Use of the Municipality of Princeton by creating the Affordable Housing District 14, AH-14, in furtherance of the Fair Housing Act. Is there a motion on that? Thank you, Leighton. Is there a second? Thank you, Leticia. Questions or comments from the governing body? All right, I've got a couple. You know, I know that for years we've tried to do or achieve a number of things with our affordable housing program. And looking at the concept plan for this particular site, I'm just a little concerned that it appears that A, the affordable units are going to be in separate buildings, which I know is allowable, but so we're separating the affordables from the rest of the units. I would assume the unit sizes are smaller, which I understand is allowable, but concerning. And it also, I have to be curious as to whether the interior finish quality will be consistent between the affordables and the market rate units. And I know this ordinance does not specifically address all of this, but I would imagine that there were some discussions with the potential developer while this was all coming to this point that it would be discussed here. So I don't know if anybody here that was involved in those negotiations or anyone else can speak to any of those points.
So I know, Mark, you sent those questions and detailed answers were provided to you. Did you have a chance to read those? Or are you asking on behalf of the public?
It doesn't matter who I'm asking on behalf
Okay.
of. Yeah, of course, I read the response, and my questions just now were tailored, having read the response that was sent.
Because
Which
I thought having
basically-
read them, maybe you would most be the one who wanted to provide the answers.
I'm sorry?
I thought having read them, maybe you would want to provide the answers.
Well, no, because the answers there were very not specific and to the point, other than saying this is allowable. So I was curious as to whether any of these points were discussed in detail with the potential developer, and if anyone involved in that knows for sure, like on the interior finishes, will they be the same as the market rate units? Maybe someone involved in that has the answer. If the answer is yes, that's great. If the answer is no, then I think that's concerning.
So I think David would be the one best equipped to answer this because he's most involved as an architect with these details, but I'll do my best. The interior finishes, from my understanding, are comparable. I'm not sure what falls under interior finishes. In terms of them being in separate buildings, that is how, for the most part, across New Jersey, for sale units are built. There was a lot of work done by municipal staff and Councilman Cohen in particular to make sure that the buildings were integrated according to UHAC rules. the buildings with affordable units cannot be in a place that's less desirable. And I know there was a lot of time spent by municipal staff and Councilman Cohen, as I mentioned, to make sure that the buildings were all integrated with similar access to light and views and circulation and so on. But the project as a whole conforms to UHAC rules for sale stacked flats, which is what this is.
No, I know they conform to the rules, but I would hope that in Princeton we go a little further than what the rules allow. So
Well, we can't go further than what the rules allow because it would be considered cost generative, this is not a redevelopment site. So in redevelopment sites, we are able to impose standards that are above the rules. In a site like this, which is a standard, it's being rezoned, we are not able to mandate anything that is above the law, which is why we prefer redevelopment.
I believe that we probably do have the ability to pass ordinances to address some of these specifics that I'm talking about.
Well, our attorney is
But
not here
I-
tonight. I guess we could hold off. Would you want to hold off on passing it? Is there a
Well,
consensus
it's
to
going to be up
hold
to the
off on
entire
this
governing
point?
body, not just me, but I would just be concerned. So I know there's another development in town that was built years ago, and if you look at the affordable units there, the interior finishes are significantly below the market rate units. And basically what has happened in those cases is the people that have the least amount of money are the ones that are faced with having to do upgrades and replacements of interior cabinets, counters, et cetera. And these are the people that can at least afford to do it, but they're going to be forced to do it more and more often. So my hope is that's not going to happen here, just because these are for sale units. And I know the state has different guidelines for sale versus rental, and those regulations are going to change in the near future, possibly. But I would hope that we were addressing those during this process. Leighton, did you have a?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. First, I want to say
Can you speak
thank
into the
you
microphone?
for bringing that important issue up. I, too, was concerned about the
Thank you.
intermix and the interdispersal of the affordable units with the market rate units. So I spent probably about an hour today, don't want to out people, but sitting down and talking with Justin Lesko about just that, and also about the finishes. And now I understand that for sale units under the UHAC rules are treated differently
Yep.
than rental units.
Yep.
But that was a real concern of mine, because, and I just want to keep this real. People know I try to do that. You know, I think the value system we do have here in Princeton, and I believe this to be true, whether it's written as an ordinance or not, is that we want affordable units to mimic market rate units in all situations. However, this is kind of our first time out in a for sale situation, and it is treated differently. So once I understood that, and noted that Justin was telling me the truth and being truthful with me, I kind of do understand now a little bit better. I still, as you said, would love to see the interdispersal of them, but I think on balance, my decision would not be to as Bernie used to say, don't let good be the enemy of perfect, or don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I think that's why I would roll with this, even though I don't really like that the affordable units are separate from the market rate units. We're going to get 17 affordable units for sale in Princeton to people that would not be able to live here in Princeton. So I got to go with this, even though I feel the same way you feel about the part of it. But on balance, I think it's a good deal. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle.
And again, it's not redevelopment, so we're prohibited from, how much we can add anything that's cost generative. But, at the same time, this is for sale units. And we talk about needing to give the opportunity to build intergenerational wealth by home ownership. And there's so little ability to do that. And I think townhomes and then having some affordable townhomes is moving in that direction. So I think it does address that. And like Leighton just said, you know, let's not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I think that was it. And I think that this is a really great step in the right direction. And again, this isn't a site plan, you know, right now. You know, that will go to the planning board. But I think that this, I think we should move forward. I think this is part of our affordable housing plan. And David has worked particularly hard on this with the architect, as an architect, and it's really a shame he's not here tonight to talk more to it, but he's done a tremendous job, and they've been very receptive to those changes. But again, we are, and I'm sorry Kevin's not here to talk about the legality of it, but our hands are tied as far as this. When we have redevelopment, we have a little bit more, we have a lot more leeway. This is not redevelopment. And I think we've gotten, you know, maybe some of that background where we have been able to do that before, but this is not. And we have other affordable housing ordinances that are going to come that are not redevelopment, just FYI.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Mia?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say one thing, that because it's for sale, there is no standard package of amenities. There is a standard package which everyone can buy, but, you know, people who are buying market rate units might want to upgrade their package. People who are purchasing affordable units could upgrade their package, but, you know, I mean, I do think that the people who are able to purchase affordable units in Princeton will be very happy to do so. These are beautiful units. And I mean, to your point that you think that the affordable units will be smaller, the affordable units are subject to minimum standards by Princeton's ordinance, which the market rate units aren't. And in many of our newly built structures in Princeton, we're finding that the market rate units are actually smaller than the affordable because they are not subject to those minimum standards. So that's not a concern. But in this particular development, the municipality was interested in having more missing middle for sale opportunities, and so they worked with the developer to try to keep the overall price point down for the market rate units as well. It's, we hope, going to be in the 7 to 9 range, which is almost unheard of in Princeton. And, you know, so this site overall is achieving a great deal. And I understand your reticence to have affordable units in a building by themselves, but, you know, we're about to approve Princeton Community Housing, a building on Chestnut Street, and that is all affordable units by themselves, as are our other municipally sponsored project. And we're very excited about those projects. So, you know, we have embraced municipally sponsored housing in Princeton, which is, you know, Princeton Community Village, Elm Court, Harriet Bryant, and we don't look down on those, and I don't think we should look down on these structures either. So,
Yeah, I'm not suggesting anyone look down on any of these. I'm not sure where that came from. Anyway, I'm not sure that this meets the values that we usually try to uphold, but that's fine. Okay. Any other
do we
comments?
want to hold it? I mean, we could hold it until, you know, the attorney is here next week and can see if there's any legal room.
Personally, I'm comfortable moving forward. I just wanted to make one other comment, which is to say we are really dedicated to the value of it in all the rental properties, of mixing in and making sure that the amenities are the same. But to Mia's point, when they're for sale, people can choose a variety of levels of types of appliances and finishings and so on. So it is different in terms of that. So I just wanted to point that out. And I'm very comfortable. I think we should move forward, but that's my personal take.
Thank you.
Should we take a consensus and see if people want to move forward?
Well, we made a motion.
No, I need to ask for public comment. I'm sorry, I didn't hear exactly what you said, but anyway. Anybody in the audience that wants to comment on this? Hendricks, when you come up, just, you know the drill, say your name and a little further. There you go.
I've not been able to keep abreast of what's going on in town, reading the newspaper and that sort of thing for the past couple of years, unfortunately. But if what I'm hearing is that there are 17 units of housing for sale in the affordable market, is that right?
There'll be a,
That's
Yes.
correct.
there's a,
Yes.
yeah, there's a potential that we are passing an ordinance that will allow a potential development that will include 17 affordable for sale units, along with a number of market rate units.
OMG. That's wonderful. I've been asking and pleading for this for at least 15 years, that the township, or the town of Princeton, yeah, I went back to township and borough times, would give attention to the need for affordable housing for sale to residents. So this is great news. The other question is, is the affordable range $700 to $900?
That's the market
It's
rate.
a market.
Oh, okay. Okay, because it could have been that, but okay, so that's wonderful too. And then third question, is this open to the wide catchment area of Arcoa, or is there any possibility of a Princeton historic preference for the affordable units for sale?
Unfortunately not, because this is part of our court mandated plan, so we have to do the regional marketing.
Okay, thank you.
But we
I would
hope
just-
that there will be units, once we've met our number, that we can work on, we can be more creative with. And
Yeah.
that's why we're trying to get to our number so that we can move beyond it.
Great. I hope that there is an effort made to reach out to people in the community who are hoping and yearning to become homeowners here, and who have been doing so for years and years and years, to get them prepared for this so that they at least have the opportunity to become a homeowner here, and get them in the mix and get them prepared as best you can. And if I can be of any help in that regard, I'd be happy to provide assistance. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Hendricks. Any other public comment from anybody in the room? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Pearl-Lambros?
Yes.
Ms. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Braga?
Yes.
Mr. Newland?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to resolutions. First one is Resolution 25-305. Resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the extension of the term of the professional services agreement with Arcadis US Inc. for Hamilton Avenue sanitary sewer replacement engineering design and bid phase services for a length of time necessary for the completion of the actual construction, with no change to the contract amount. Would someone like to move that? Thank you, Brian. Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 25-306, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing and amending Princeton Affordable Housing Program Home Rehabilitation Loans 2025-1 and 2025-2, not to exceed $39,300. Leticia's got the motion, Layton's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 25307, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing an increase of $65,000 to the contract with Gen Electric, Inc. for traffic signal maintenance services for a new not-to-exceed amount of $107,040 for the January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025 term. Thank you, Brian. Is there a second? Thank you, Leighton. Questions or comments?
I just wanted to note that I reached out to Jim Purcell today in Deanna because it references our 14 traffic signals. And I tried to make a list and came up with 38. And Jim was kind enough to reply that actually there are 42, but only 14 that are owned and operated by the municipality. All the others are NJDOT or the county or the university, the seminary, Princeton Day School. So there are many more traffic signals than those referenced here, but this is what's needed to complete a series of upgrades and repairs between now and the end of the year with a vendor who's been very good to work with, apparently.
Great.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for doing that inventory for us, Brian, too.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 25308, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton endorsing Princeton's application to the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife for designation of a special deer management area in approval of Princeton's 2025-2026 community-based deer management plan. Brian's moving that. Michelle has the second. Questions or comments? We will see what happens with this.
Yeah, I wonder,
Yeah.
just wondered if Trishka wanted to say anything. In the last meeting of the animal control group, there was discussion, and there's been discussion online since then about our real desire to introduce non-lethal methods to control the deer population. And somewhat surprisingly, this has met with significant resistance at the state level, and Trishka has persisted mightily in trying to make this possible for our community to manage our deer population using not just lethal means, but non-lethal means, which we hope to make progress with, but you know, it's been a lot of work and it's been frustrating to date.
Unfortunately, I mean, yes, I think a brick wall may be an apt description for this agency, as we've been trying to get them to authorize, allow Princeton to use sterilization. Unfortunately, the deer are a state-owned resource, and that's why we require the state's authorization to do anything with the deer. I mean, frankly, including hunting them, but in Princeton's case, using alternate methods, including sterilization, which also requires separately a research permit. So we did apply for that research permit in early June, and we have not yet obtained it. The state has not outright denied it. They have asked us for clarification on a number of issues, but given the volume of information we've provided to date, and the position they've taken on two very key issues, I think it's pretty clear that the answer is no. But I think we still want to persist, although, you know, in all honesty, I think at this point, the solution may be political. You know, to be perfectly candid, I think that there are roadblocks. There's a question. I don't want to go into massive detail on the record, but on the other hand, the public probably does have a right to know this. It's unclear if the logjam is with the Division of Fish and Wildlife, which is a state agency within the Department of Environmental Protection, and these are really, you know, these are staff members, or if it lies with the Fish and Game Council, which is sort of a semi-autonomous agency within the state. Some of what I am hearing through sources is that it's the chair of the Fish and Game Council who is the roadblock, and who has basically stated this will not get approved. Now again, this is all rumor, if you will, but it's highly plausible. And that's why I say it may be that at this point, it could even be, for all I know, that at the division level, the staff members also may have their hands a little bit tied. So to the larger question, why is there so much resistance? I have absolutely no idea. I don't get it. I just don't get it, and I don't have an answer for you on that one. But it is incredibly frustrating, and one of the good things for Princeton is that your quote-unquote provider, White Buffalo, who's been doing this for decades now, I would say is even more exasperated than we are. And because White Buffalo has done this in other communities, it has seen how well it works, what an effective tool it is for deer management, and they're tearing their hair out as well. And I think if it's possible for them to be more determined than we are to get this approved, they're more determined than we are to get this approved. So at least you have a very knowledgeable and active partner. But one last comment, and this, I think I made it last year when this came up. South Carolina approved this type of program in 4 days. 4 days. Ohio has approved this type of program. New York State has approved this type of program. But it also just baffles me that New Jersey is okay, I'm sorry, but lagging behind South Carolina, Ohio, and any number of other states. For a state that prides itself on being out in front of issues, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that this is now our third or fourth year trying this. We keep getting roadblocks, and South Carolina was able to approve sterilization in a sum total of 4 days. I leave you with that. In the meantime, what is in front of you for tonight is really essentially the same program that you've been doing for a long time. As I explained in my memo, just like we did last year, we are going to bifurcate the sterilization from the rest of it, because I think the worst thing would be for the division to deny the entirety of the application because of the sterilization component, because that will set Princeton back massively, both financially and logistically.
After having a lot of involvement in this last year, I can think of nothing polite to say to add to what Trishka has just said, so I am going to call it at that. But it is unbelievable trying to deal with the state on this. But anyway, thanks, Trishka. Any other comments or questions on this one? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Resolution 25309, resolution of the mayor and council authorizing the award of a bid contract to Dan Swayze and Son, Inc. for North Harrison Street traffic striping and pavement markings for an amount not to exceed $132,193.75. Would someone like to move that? Brian, thank you very much. Is there a second? Thank you, Leticia. Questions or comments? I have a question. I'm trying to figure out how doing the markings from Clearview to Terhune is going to cost $132,000. I know we're doing a lot of street markings, but...
And it was the lowest bid, Mayor.
I'm sorry?
It was the lowest bid. It was bid, and that is the lowest bid, and it is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Does that include the bike lane dividers? I'm trying to remember. Can you just...
Keep that microphone close.
So I know it's part of the corridor program, and if David were here, he would say it's a very important experiment for our community to engage in, to see if we can make major roadway safer for cyclists and pedestrians. And the I&O committee has spent multiple meetings discussing this, and all felt that this was a worthwhile investment, that if it works, it may have applications on other roadways that could save us money in other places as we try to make the community, as we move towards Vision Zero and try to be a more bike and pedestrian friendly community.
The delineators, the things that stick up, I think that you're asking about, they're in here. That's about 19 grand.
Yeah, that's Jen Harris.
Okay. I mean, I guess we could always rebid it, but I'm just kind of astounded that it's $132,000 to do this work, but whatever. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any other questions? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 132,000. Resolution 25-310, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton authorizing the execution of a development agreement with PCH Development Corporation for an affordable housing development in connection with the municipality's fourth round affordable housing plan. Letitia's got the motion, Leighton's got the second. Question? Would you have a question?
Not a question, I just want to make a comment. A few meetings ago, Chief Willie Shields came in. He and others have a lot of history with the Chestnut Street Firehouse. It was, there were different firehouses that, you know, have a long history. And I just wanted to mention that I did due diligence. I did talk to Fire Chief Adam Cooker about, you know, some of the nostalgia there, there's a lot of like memorabilia that we can still preserve. And I know that PCH in their plans want to have a community room, but in addition to that, what we do with our firehouse, our main firehouse, there's other opportunities. So I just wanted to say to the community and those that are really, you know, feel the history of that property, that, you know, it all won't be lost. The memorabilia can be preserved and, you know, in memory. But, you know, I think in what we've decided that it makes sense that this is the best use for the community, what we're doing with PCH, and PCH being such a wonderful partner. But I did just want to mention that we did do some research and some discussions on that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Leighton?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what my colleague Michelle said. You know, William Shields is a dear gentleman, and he spent years and years and years at that fire department, as have others. He loves the history. He loves the nostalgia. And Ed, if you could find it in your heart, maybe to embrace him and even to include him in just as a memento and give him a little place, a feeling, I think it would be a win-win situation for both your organization and the fire department to have some sort of connectivity. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just comment also that, following up on what Michelle said and echoing to some degree, is that when the Hook and Ladder Firehouse on Harrison Street moved and came into the Witherspoon Street Firehouse, all their memorabilia and everything was absorbed into this firehouse. And as Michelle has talked to the fire chief, room will be made for anything and everything that the fire company on Chestnut Street wants to bring into the firehouse here on Witherspoon Street. And if PCH wants to do something with that fire company and keep some of the memorabilia there, that's between PCH and that fire company. But Willie painted a picture, and I think he painted half the picture and not the entire picture. So no one should be concerned that number one's history and memorabilia are going to be in a dumpster behind the firehouse. Anyway. Mia.
Just want to thank Ed Truselli, who's here tonight, for all your work on this and for all your patience with the municipality. It's been a long road to try to figure out the design. It's a complicated site, adaptive reuse, very constrained site, and it's a beautiful design for adaptive reuse of a building which is not actively being used, and which, you know, you have very generously and graciously offered to host, you know, the community room that will pay homage to the building's history in fighting fires in Princeton, and providing a space for firefighters there. And I'm excited that this will be a permanent home for 100% affordable units, all on their own, which we're equally excited about. Thank you so much for sticking with us for this, what was a long road, and I hope that you can get your funding in this first round, because that will be essential. So,
Ed, do you have the need to say anything on either one of these resolutions that were? I just figure you're here, so.
Just a quick word. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the kind words and your confidence in us. And this is going to be an exciting, very exciting development. It's right in the middle of town. It is infill. It checks a lot of boxes, but most importantly, it'll be a place for people to call home and a great community. So thank you for your assistance and confidence in us.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay, no other comments or questions on this one? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is Resolution 25-311, resolution of need for the construction of an affordable housing project on property located at 13 Chestnut Street, Block 30.02, lots 39.01 and 39.02. Layton's got the motion, Leticia's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 25-312, resolution of the Mayor and Council of Princeton in the County of Mercer, New Jersey, determining the form and other details of one or more notes relating to the construction financing loan program of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank to be issued in the aggregate principal amount of up to $6,300,000, providing for the issuance and sale of such notes to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and authorizing the execution and delivery of such notes by Princeton in favor of the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, all pursuant to the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank Construction Financing Loan Program. Michelle's got the motion. Brian's got the second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Next up is the consent agenda. There are 3 items on the agenda. If nobody has a problem with those being voted in block, Brian.
Move as a block.
I'm sorry?
I move as a block.
Moving them in block. Leticia's got the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is public comments for items not on the agenda. And looking at the sign-up sheet, Hendricks, you were first. So let me just remind everybody as you come up for public comment, if you would say your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Good evening. Hendricks Davis, 232 John Street. I am here because I am concerned that someone could die on the street, on the sidewalks of Princeton, New Jersey. And someone could die because of the sidewalks of Princeton, New Jersey. I've spoken to the council in prior meetings and at prior public meetings at the Arts Council about the need for the sidewalk conditions to be addressed on John Street in particular, and all of the streets that connect John to Witherspoon. They are very dangerous. And I'm not speaking just because of this recent development of my blindness. I've fallen on those going up John Street 3 times prior to becoming blind. And I've mentioned the particular locations that are hazardous. One in front of the new townhouse development, one in front of number 148 and 152. I think they are a twin unit there that I call that one the Widowmaker. I'm not married, but I could be dead because of the conditions of those sidewalks. I'm also speaking on behalf of others who have mentioned to me that they have fallen on the sidewalks in the neighborhood, in the Witherspoon-Jackson neighborhood, but also very recently, a new person to me mentioned that she had a tremendous fall on Nassau Street in the area between the CVS and Wells Fargo Bank. Indeed, 4 Princeton Angels came to her assistance, and they called the first responders, and the police showed up as well. She ended up with a black eye and the need to get medical treatment to determine if further injury, internal injury, has occurred. This is not something that is a trivial matter when I say someone could die, because I'm sure you all know that the highest cause of death among senior citizens is not car accidents, is not heart attacks, is not cancer, but is falls. Heard it on NPR and confirmed it by asking Alexa. Please do the same. Please take some action. In my neighborhood, in Nassau Street, and in other neighborhoods where the sidewalks are indeed treacherous. Thank you.
Hendricks, thank you.
Thank you, Hendricks.
Okay, next up, we have 4 of you that are going to talk about Vote 16. So you guys come up in whatever order you want. Again, just state your name and what street you live on and talk to us. Just watch the monitor for the, each got 3 minutes, so just.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, my name is Karina He, and I live on Walker Street, Walker Drive. I'm a senior at Princeton High School, and I'm joined by some members of Princeton's Youth Civic Leader Club, which is a civic engagement club at Princeton High School. And we would
Can you just try to get that microphone close to your mouth?
Of course.
It's because the people on Zoom can't hear if it doesn't go into that microphone.
Okay, thank you. But we would like to introduce the Vote 16 Civic Engagement Initiative, which is a little bit different from what you all have been discussing on the agenda today. But we've been working with Councilmember Brian McDonald for the past few months on this, as well as the statewide Vote 16 organization. So the aim is to enfranchise 16 and 17-year-olds to be able to vote in Princeton Public Schools Board of Education elections, which on the surface may seem a little controversial, but we hope today we'll be able to introduce some of our reasoning. So I'm going to cover more of the logistical aspects, and then my peers will share their personal experiences. To start off with a few facts, 16 and 17-year-olds have relevant civic knowledge, and research shows that there's no significant difference between 16 and 17-year-olds and 18-plus-year-old citizens in terms of their civic knowledge, which is especially visible within the Princeton Public Schools education system with how robust our civics education is starting from the elementary schools. But even better, these age groups are interested in civics and likely to vote. So we saw in Tacoma Park, Maryland, where this initiative was able to pass, over 4 times 16 and 17-year-olds were 4 times more likely to vote than their 18-plus counterparts. So this is especially important here in Princeton, where we see is usually under 50% of voter turnout rates, and it's always good to be increasing that and having our younger people engage in these civic processes. But then a lot of these big supporters of this initiative include our very own District 16 Senator Andrew Zwicker, the current Governor Phil Murphy, and as we lobbied at the Trenton State House, a lot of the senators were open to hearing and engaging in dialogue with us. And then mechanically speaking, the Secretary of State's office would be charged to create a separate ballot, and then that cost is reimbursed by the state for those separate ballots to be printed, so it ultimately comes at no cost to Princeton or Mercer County. In terms of legality, this was recently passed a few months back in New York, and it also is passed in some counties throughout Maryland, California, and Vermont. And lastly, we will reach out to be in touch with you all individually to hear more opinions if you are willing, of course. And to be completely transparent, our ultimate goal is to be able to at least propose an ordinance within the Town Council of Princeton to enfranchise 16 and 17-year-olds in these processes. So if you want to see any of our statistics, past precedents, or more questions, we'd be more than happy to engage in so via email or other means. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Councilman. My name is Ash Neiman, and I live at 213 Stewart Road East, and I'm a senior at Princeton High School. So I'd like to talk about how Princeton High School and the curriculum as well as the community are great to set us up for being able to vote as 16 and 17-year-olds. So as 8th graders at Princeton Middle School, we are required to take civics, and then at PHS, U.S. history is required the first 2 years. This is when students are typically 14 to 16 years old. I'm currently studying AP Government and Politics. And I know that every teacher at Princeton High School really stresses how important the right of voting is and how important it has been throughout history. I know that in Ms. Taylor's class, we've dove deeply into different suffrage movements. So I know it's not lost on students how important it is to be able to vote. But that said, there's been a lot of disconnect between students, not just at Princeton, but all across the country, and politics, because they don't feel like they have a lot of impact on these political systems. But the youth voice still is and has always been a leader in politics, and we protest for gun rights and climate actions, and we've risen as a generation that's ready to take action, so I think this is a really important step to take. So the purpose of our education is obviously to make us successful young adults. And in order to do that, we have to practice the things that will make us successful. The same way that a student who wants to pursue biology, for instance, would take classes and engage in extracurriculars to prepare them for that, we as youth have to practice civic engagement and duty. And I would say that one thing that will make us successful citizens and adults is exercising the right to vote. Princeton and Princeton High School have so many fantastic resources that support its students, but I think one of the most important resources we can give students is support, and in this case, giving students the right to vote while they are still 16 and 17 and living at home, where they have the support of their parents and their teachers and their school community, which they've been with for most students at least a couple years, will provide them with, like I said, more support, and they'll be more likely to vote. We also know that by allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to be able to vote, it'll start conversations with parents, which, like Karina said, will hopefully increase the voter turnout rate, not just in kids, but it will invigorate more older adults to vote as well. And a lot of people, some of the backlash we receive from this movement is just that people think that students or 16 and 17-year-olds will vote the same as their adults or their parents at home. But I think that the Princeton community is one that teaches our students and our youth to be civically engaged, because we have teachers that are really passionate about what they teach, and we have open dialogue and vivid demonstrations of activism within our community. So I don't think that Princeton students are unable to form these political ideas for themselves, and we really want them to be engaged with the school boards, that hopefully they can pursue these democratic processes as well in the future. So I just know that we all need to be prepared to vote as adults, and this is one step in increasing that preparedness. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Avantika Polyacre, and I live in 45 Trowbridge Court. So what I would like to talk about, and I'm a current junior at Princeton High School, so what I would like to talk about is I would like to emphasize the importance of letting 16 and 17-year-olds vote in school board elections. Because, of course, the school board is what decides, like, for example, schedules our curriculum that is taught at our school, what can be shown at our school and what can't. And the students themselves are directly affected by it, the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and the fact that currently they do not have a voice in what elected officials they want in the school board, who are ultimately going to make decisions that are going to affect them personally rather than the adults who vote right now. I think it is extremely important to give them a voice, because they are the ones directly affected by all the issues, by all the issues and the problems that the school board members might be campaigning for, might be campaigning against. And so I would like to emphasize, of course, how it is extremely important to make sure that we properly represent our constituents, right? Because the school board isn't really making decisions on how the adults, the parents of the students are going to live, on how they're going to be educated, but rather the children. And while, of course, the students themselves might influence their parents' vote, it really isn't the same as letting the students themselves vote. And also, by creating a voting body that includes Princeton High School students, it provides an extra guarantee that those campaigning for the school board aren't only trying to appeal to the parents of the children who go to Princeton High School, but also to the students themselves, and making sure that each school board member puts the students first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. My name is Claire, and my address is 86 Cedar Lane, and I'm currently a junior at the high school. While my peers have already covered some of the groundwork, I would like to leave you with the final thought on the concept of responsibility. At the age of 16, the state is able to issue us driver's permits, which I know it can be a scary thought for most parents out there, but it also holds us responsible for the safety of others on the road. Businesses employ us, holding us responsible for their operations and customer service. We're even old enough to pay taxes, unfortunately, just like many adults. In the high school, we're also learning about civics in real time. We're studying government, politics, and we're having discussions about real-time issues and formulating our own opinions on it. By giving us the chance to vote, this is a chance to take learning outside the textbooks, beyond the classroom, therefore strengthening our democratic foundation. More importantly, we're still at home, surrounded by the support system of our families and the direct guidance of our teachers. There isn't a more supportive environment for us now than how to learn how to engage with democracy. Contrast that with 18. So many of us would be moving away, starting college, and dealing with the immense pressure of adulthood, often without that daily support system. 16 is the perfect age to introduce voting on a smaller scale before we learn how to vote in the presidential election or general elections. Critics will often argue that we are too young or too impressionable. But we are the focus of the very discussions that happen in this room, yet we have very little say in them. Lowering the voting age is an investment in our young people. It tells them your perspective matters in this community. So let's not just prepare our young people for the future, let's empower them to shape it, starting with a vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Brian, you seem to be the connection to the group. So if we,
yes, I have been in dialogue with the group, and they've been working very hard on this, including work with some of the members of the faculty, and they know that this is the beginning of a process, and I look forward to working with Trishka to better understand the legal side of this, and we'll verify with the state, that there would not be an additional cost borne by the municipality. I've reached out to our county clerk, who also is seeking additional information. And I've been clear that we would welcome the opinions of any members of the Board of Education who would be interested in offering them. So I think that we'll have the opportunity to see our students again as we continue to move forward, and can give more consideration to their thoughtful requests that we enfranchise them to vote in school board elections.
okay. And so if any of us have questions or comments, it might seem to funnel them to you and have you remain the conduit, so we're not all. The more we all know what the information going back and forth is, so if we go through one single point, it's easier.
And I will share more information than you may wish to receive, as this group's been very thorough in sharing the pros and the cons, and they've been really impressive and thoughtful and diligent.
Yeah. Thank you. Michelle?
No, I look forward to hearing more, and thank you for coming. It's very informative. I just have one just general question, maybe I'm not understanding. Are we talking about enfranchising all 16 and 17-year-olds throughout Princeton? Because there are a lot of private school students, obviously, that would be also deciding on the school board, which is for the public school. So I just wanted to clarify that one point, that we're talking about voting across the board in the municipality. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
so private school students would be voting for the Princeton Public Schools School Board?
Yeah, would have to. Yeah.
And just in school board elections, not municipal elections?
Just school. Yeah.
So I know Brian will give us more information, but my understanding is that right now there needs to be a change at the state level in order for municipalities to to opt in. Trishka, is that your
Well, let's-
understanding?
Can we, I'm sorry, let me just jump in. This is not usually what we do at public comment. We don't usually get into a debate or go back and forth. So I
That's
would
true.
encourage that if any
Yeah.
questions or comments we have, we funnel to Brian.
Yep.
And if Brian has the answer immediately, he'll get back to us, and if not, he can work with the group to make sure we all have the proper information.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
It's
thank
really
you.
great to see PHS students at council,
Thank you.
always.
I wanted to comment first. Thank you for coming and presenting. I just want to share with you, I'm the liaison to Princeton's Youth Advisory Committee, and one of their interests is, they have several interests, but one is in civic engagement. And I think it would be great if you would like to come to one of their meetings. They meet the first Thursday of every month. This week, it's actually their reorganizational meeting, so I would wait until next month. I can get your contact info from Brian to invite you to come to their meeting. It's in person in this building, to perhaps share with them what it is that you're advocating for.
Great idea.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, is there any other, anybody else in the room that has a public comment for an item not on the agenda? Anybody on Zoom that has a comment for an item not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, does someone want to move that we adjourn? Thank you, Michelle. Is there a second? Thank you, Brian. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are done. Thank you all for being here. Have a great night.